thank you. Like, just thank you, Lisa Leslie. Thank you, Lisa Leslie. I cannot stress this enough. Thank you. There is somebody with sense. There is actually somebody with some sense.
What Lisa Leslie just said about Caitlin Clark was perhaps the freshest breath of fresh air ever recorded in human history, if you can record that kind of thing. After a year of old and current WNBA players and media raging against the Caitlin Clark cash machine, Lisa's words perfectly countered every delusion the haters have and made them all look foolish. As far as WNBA legends go, you can't have a better ally than Lisa. She is one of the most universally recognized names in women's basketball, the OG of OGs, the one that dunked. If you're building a women's basketball Mount Rushmore, Lisa's face is on it. And while the jealousy surrounding Caitlin Clark continues, it's common sense statements like Leslie's that put everything in perspective and force the haters to stop and reflect. Or at least we hope. Because if we've learned anything, the more Caitlin accomplishes and the more she does for the league, the more they whine. Let's get into what she said, because you can use it verbatim to shut down any hater. But first, like this video. Every like equals one tissue for the haters. They're going to need them, so do your part. Okay, so why is Lisa speaking up now? Well, it's because Caitlin's breaking new records without setting foot on the court. And the haters are, again, acting like she doesn't deserve it.
It is no secret that the Indianafever are by far the most popular team in the WNBA, and I'm so glad that we are finally just, I don't know if admitting it is the right word, but they're finally acting on it. And you guys, I'm happy that they're acting on it because this news is not only just good for the Indianafever and Indianafever fans, it is good for the entire WNBA.
It's the worst kept secret in sports. Caitlin Clark is the most popular player in WNBA history, potentially the most popular and talked about female athlete in America. Period. The hype and economic impact she's generating are off the charts. Need proof? Last season, as a rookie, Caitlin Clark and the Indianafever shattered records across the board. The Fever drew over 300,000 fans at home in 2024, a new WNBA single-season attendance record, and a ridiculous plus 319% increase from the year before. League-wide, every team saw big attendance jumps. The league logged 154 sellouts, more than triple the 45 sellouts in 2023. The TV site exploded too. 2024 was the most-watched season ever, and the top 7 most-watched WNBA games in ESPN history all happened last year. Caitlin Clark's Fever were in many of them. In total, over 54 million viewers tuned into the WNBA in 2024, an all-time high. As if that wasn't enough, her star power carried into the offseason. The Fever announced a preseason exhibition game in Iowa, Caitlin's old college stomping grounds, and fans snatched up 15,000 tickets in under an hour, selling out the arena for a preseason game. That's the Caitlinclark Clark effect in action. And this should be a moment of celebration for all WNBA players because of the added exposure and opportunities they're getting. Think about it. The WNBA has long been seen as a charity case, a money loser subsidized by the NBA. But now, thanks to Caitlin, they finally have a shot at a better future where players are paid more and the league thrives. Yet instead of jubilation, we've seen jealousy. The claws keep coming out. Many players try to be diplomatic about it, but the envy slips through the cracks. Some straight up try to diminish her impact, injecting themselves as the reason for the league's surge.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Then you have those who even tie her fame to race, implying she's only hyped because she's white.
It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest.
This extends to the media and fans too. And I get it, honestly. If you're another player, it might grind your gears that everyone, especially reporters, only wants to talk about Caitlin. It's got to be frustrating getting asked about her in every interview. But guess what? The solution isn't to tear Caitlin down or act salty. It's to take advantage of the spotlight she's bringing and give those new fans a reason to learn your name too. All of this is damaging to the image of a league that for so long has needed a transcendent star to bring in casual fans and finally grow the game into a mainstream, must-watch TV product. Remember, nearly 19 million people watched Caitlin in the NCAA championship game. No women's player has ever entered the WNBA with that kind of buzz. She was a one-woman show at Iowa, dropping 40-point masterpieces in March Madness and dragging her team to back-to-back national title game appearances. Simply put, we've never seen a player enter the WNBA with this kind of profile. Not even greats like Candace Parker or Diana Taurasi had that level of buzz coming in. And guess what? That's exactly what Caitlin did for the WNBA.
Clark, step back, hits a three. Caitlin Clark looking to push the pace. Clark showing off the moves. Clark, to the rim, just couldn't finish. Clark with the hesitation. Clark gets inside and lays it in.
She almost single-handedly made the league hot. She set attendance records, merch sales records. You've seen the stats? It's black and white. It's undeniable. You'd have to be living under a rock covered by Mount Everest and wearing noise-canceling headphones during a Metallica concert to not know what's really going on here.
Clark with the board.
Diana Taurasi has 48 triples coming into the game.
Logo!
Caitlin Clark didn't just bring hype. She delivered. She broke the WNBA records for single-season assists and points by a guard, dished a league record 19 assists in one game, and averaged nearly 20 points per game for the season. She even led Indiana to its first playoff appearance since 2016. So much for the people who said her game might not translate to the pros. Clearly it did. And she does it with style, pulling up from the logo, dishing no-look passes, and playing with a confident swagger that few can match. Not only is she incredibly popular, she's the real deal on the court too.
Are today, 20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5.6 turnovers.
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
But, yeah, it's only not dominating because she's a rookie.
But apparently, some people in the WNBA ecosystem just can't handle it. It's too big a shot to their egos. It's not fair that despite all their talent, they never got the mainstream fame Caitlin's getting. The most recent example of this jealousy? The national broadcast schedule. On the heels of 6 WNBA teams moving their home games against the Fever to NBA arenas, and some hilariously not admitting it's because of Caitlin Clark, the Atlanta Dreams owner even blamed a scheduling conflict at their usual arena. Sure, a conflict magically solved by moving to a 16,000-seat NBA venue. The WNBA announced its national broadcast schedule for the upcoming season.
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale. The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
Caitlin Clark and the Fever got 41 national TV games, a WNBA record, which is 8 more than Asia Wilson's Aces, and 9 more than Breanna Stewart and the reigning champion Liberty.
Surprise, surprise!
Really, that should surprise absolutely nobody. Last season, any game Caitlin Clark played in drew by far the most viewers, up to 3 times that of other teams' games. One of her playoff games drew 2.5 million viewers, more than even the WNBA Finals in recent years. Again, this is not hidden info. They all know it. And now the teams and broadcasters have made it crystal clear with their actions. This is an amazing opportunity. This year we'll see the brightest spotlight on Caitlin, but also on the entire league. The Fever have an amazing team now, thanks to some blockbuster free agency signings. They signed veteran stars like DeWanna Bonner, a 6-time All-Star and 2-time WNBA champion, and Natasha Howard, a 3-time champion and former Defensive Player of the Year. They also added Brianna Turner, a shot-blocking defensive specialist, and Sydney Colson, a savvy 2-time champ who brings leadership off the bench. Perhaps the splashiest move was trading for sharpshooter Sophie Cunningham, who's known for her toughness and swagger. In short, Indiana isn't messing around. They went from a rebuild to what looks like a contender on paper, just like that. They now have 5 All-Stars on the roster: Clark, Bonner, Howard, Kelsey Mitchell, and 2023 Rookie of the Year Aaliyah Boston, plus multiple champions and a deep bench. The quality of play is going to increase, and fans are going to be very invested in this team. Yet, once the news hit, the complaints started pouring in from the very players who will benefit from all this increased visibility, including one of the league's top stars, Napheesa Collier. She's fresh off leading her team to the WNBA Finals, and even snagged MVP in her own unrivaled 3-on-3 off-season league. When asked on ESPN's First Take about Caitlin Clark getting 41 TV games, she said this.
I think it's 2 things. I mean, obviously people want to watch Caitlin play, and so you have to put the people on TV that people want to see. But at the same time, like, there's stars all over the league, and to put you want good basketball as well. Obviously, Indiana, especially like with their free agents, they're gonna be a great team. But to not have the defending champs on TV more, I think it's kind of crazy.
I'm going to go on a little rant here before we get back to Lisa Leslie, who addresses this much more calmly. Fee, of all people, should know this. She's actually on the WNBPA Players Executive Committee, fighting for those better salaries. She should understand that superstars are critical to growing a league. She tried to sign Caitlin for $1 million to play in Unrivaled. Why offer that much? Because she knew Caitlin was critical to its success. And what happened? Caitlin rejected it like Mutombo, and Unrivaled had just okay viewership. Sure, it started off with some buzz, but then it struggled at times to crack 100,000 viewers. It was alright, but nothing to write home about, certainly nowhere near the Caitlin craze. And all that talent and star power Collier keeps saying needs to be featured. The great players across the league, she literally had most of them playing in Unrivaled. Guess what? It still wasn't enough to move the needle without Caitlin. It's the same story with the WNBA itself. The league had these same stars in 2021, 2022, 2023, and ratings grew slowly. Then Caitlin Clark came in 2024, and they skyrocketed.
It is good for the entire WNBA. So I have the broadcast schedule here. We have ABC, NBA TV, Prime Video, CBS, ESPN, 1, 2, 3.
See, the big thing players have been clamoring for is what they call fair pay. Right now, their salaries are pretty low. Many WNBA players make less than your local Costco assistant manager, which seems insane for a professional athlete. But, up to now, the revenue and profitability just weren't there to pay more. The league has been losing money for years, though that's on the verge of changing. The players are about to head to the negotiating table for a new CBA soon, hoping to get more money. They've already signaled they could strike if they don't get what they want. If anything, they should recognize that with this massive new spotlight on them, now is the time to step up, show what they can do, put on a hell of a show, showcase their skills, and make this season the best ever in the WNBA. Win new fans, keep them coming back, and make them want more. That's how you get those bigger paychecks, not by whining about fairness, but by making the pie bigger. But just like how some want higher pay without yet producing the revenue, they want more national TV games without having the same popularity as Caitlin. Seems to be a trend, huh? Alright, rant over. Let's get back to Lisa Leslie before I blow a gasket. Lisa was interviewed by USA Today recently, and when asked about Caitlin Clark's beefed-up TV schedule, she delivered an A++ answer. The kind you should stop, rewind, memorize, and repeat to anyone who questions Caitlin Clark. Seriously.
I think it's all about money, marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect called the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games?
Obviously, like that is so true. Every word of that statement is a fact.
Hang it in the Louvre. It's a masterpiece. I mean, she's right. Why on earth would you be upset about more people watching your sport? But Lisa wasn't done. She then dug into the impact of the Caitlin Clark effect on all players, something I believe every player can see with their own eyes, but many refuse to admit. They'd rather plug their noses and stomp their feet while Caitlin brings home the bacon for everybody.
I think we have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat it.
Bingo. A rising tide lifts all boats. What's happening with Caitlin is going to change women's basketball and the fortunes of its players forever. We've seen this in sports before. When a transcendent superstar arrives, they elevate the whole league. Think about the NBA in the 1980s. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird saved the league by drawing huge interest, and Michael Jordan took it global. Do you think other players back then complained about Magic or MJ getting too much attention? If they did, they look foolish now. Those stars were bringing in new fans and more money for everyone. The WNBA is having that moment right now with Caitlin. She is single-handedly bringing them more cash, all while making only about $76,000 herself from the league she's elevating. You think that new $2.2 billion media rights deal the WNBA just landed came out of thin air? Please. It's largely because of the insane viewership Caitlin and the wave of interest she created brought in. Even Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve flat out credited Caitlin's arrival for helping the league secure that kind of windfall. The huge, delicious pie they're about to slice up was cooked by Caitlin, yet some of these folks are out here complaining about the chef. And finally, Lisa touched on something that I think is at the heart of why Caitlin Clark's fans get so riled up at the haters: the ungratefulness of certain players.
And I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So I just don't, again, I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have.
This is coming from an OG who helped build the league to a point where today's players could carry the torch. That's what you're supposed to do as a star. Leave the game better than you found it. Lisa, Cheryl Swoops, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. They all did this, paving the way for Caitlin. They set the stage for Caitlin, and this is what they dreamed of: a new star taking the league to heights they never could. They should be proud of that. Caitlin has never tried to grab credit for herself. She knows she's the straw stirring the drink, it's obvious. But she's always given flowers to current players and the legends who came before her. It's not mandatory, but she does it, because it's the right thing to do. In fact, she's been nothing but gracious amid all the hype. Case in point, the NBA actually invited Caitlin to participate in their All-Star Weekend three-point contest. A huge stage where she'd undoubtedly steal the show. But she turned it down. Why? Because she'd rather save her three-point contest debut for the WNBA's All-Star Weekend on her home court in Indianapolis. In other words, she didn't want to overshadow her own league's event or be a sideshow for the NBA. She wanted to elevate the WNBA's stage. How can you not respect that? Even as her legend grows, she remains about the game, not the fame. But many of her fellow players just don't return the favor. To them, all that Caitlin's doing for the league doesn't seem to matter.
They just can't. They just can't not even wrap their head around. They can't just accept, okay, this person is more popular than me, or this person is more popular than the player that we want to push. But even still, that's okay.
Now, in a past video, I talked about how I think the hate is going to continue. Yes, we have Lisa Leslie, a huge voice, coming to Caitlin's defense. We've also had another legend, Cheryl Miller, speak up on Caitlin's behalf. Even NBA superstars like LeBron James and Charles Barkley have noticed the nonsense and called out the petty jealousy. Caitlin's new teammate, Sophie Cunningham, has been one of her loudest defenders, even before landing in Indiana. Sophie didn't hesitate to call Caitlin the face of the WNBA, and she's praised her as a once-in-a-lifetime talent.
I mean, she has changed our game in the best possible way in every way.
And Sydney Colson, a proud member of the WNBA's old guard, spoke up as well, acknowledging Caitlin's impact.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. There's no other way to say it. It was nuts. I think, you're seeing a team that's now, affecting the economy in the city. You got people coming from out of town, out of state, out of the country, maybe even to see games. And so that's special.
So yes, there are voices of reason out there, but clearly we have a long way to go. Honestly, Caitlin could break every record, win a championship, and even tenfold everyone's paychecks, and you'd still have a few players trying to take credit or tear her down. As I've said before, until another player, say USC's phenom Juju Watkins or UConn's Paige Beckers, or anyone, comes into the league and develops their own orbit of popularity, even if it's not at Caitlin's level, all eyes and all ire will remain on Caitlin. No matter how much she benefits the league, she'll keep being the lightning rod. It's lonely at the top, right? Lisa gets it. Cheryl Miller gets it. Caitlin's teammates who chose to join the Fever to play with her, they get it. But until more players speak out to drown out the hate, this dynamic isn't going away. Hopefully, as more voices rise up, the facts will triumph over the feelings. WNBA players can support each other, put on a great show, win new fans, and convert them into lifelong WNBA fans. Not just Caitlin Clark fans, because, hey, the goal is league fans, not just one player's fans. And then laugh all the way to the bank together. And if the players can embrace this moment, put on a great show, and welcome all the new eyes on the league, we are going to be in for an absolutely unforgettable season. If you thought last year was wild, get ready. Year 2 of the Caitlin Clark era is shaping up to be even bigger. We could be looking at record-breaking attendance again, off-the-charts TV ratings again, and who knows, maybe even a deep playoff run for the fever that breaks the internet. One thing's for sure, you won't want to miss a minute of it. If you're still here, drop a basketball in the comments to say hi. Thanks for watching.